Hi, I'm George, and I graduated from Stony Brook Grammar School in 1962.
I'm Bill. I graduated from Stony Brook Grammar School in 1962 in Kinnelon, New Jersey.
Hi, I'm Rob, and I graduated from Stony Brook Grammar School in 1962.
And somehow we have maintained a relationship and contact over the last 57 years.
And it's a great joy that we've been able to do that, because there's nothing better than to be able to maintain and retain people you've known in the past.
In order to stay in contact, we had to use technologies that were available. So the first technology that we had was writing letters.
A little bit later, we had the CDs, which we used the same way. And then when the internet got going, that made things that much easier, and we started using email.
At this point in time, now we're able to actually communicate online real time, and that's how we've done it through the years.
When we were together, this is Bill and Rob, my two co-founders, we were at an event in Omaha. That was the national triathlon event that I was participating in. And we started comparing notes and realized that we all had the same problem, that none of our address books and our smartphones were very accurate, that we had lost a lot of contacts. And I had lost friends from college and friends from prior work situations. And we said, well, what do you think we can do about that? Or how do we figure that out? So we spent, I'm going to say maybe a month or two, just looking around for other apps that would do that job so we could share it with each other and have a way to do that going forward. And after a couple of months of looking around, we didn't find anything that worked. There were plenty of apps out there, but they were not functionally very effective, and we just didn't like them. And so we said, well, maybe this is something we should do.
So I got thinking, in today's world of digital technology, why is it that people lose contact? What is it that causes that? And isn't it something that should be?
The idea for doing an app really came from Bill, our most technical member of the co-founders, because he had recognized that there are real limitations today as far as keeping your contact information with other people up to date. A person's contact list today is a big problem that didn't seem to have a solution. And when he began talking with George and me about this idea, we looked at alternatives that might be out there. And we really didn't find any that we thought were viable.
So I think about my address book, the contacts that I have in there, and sure, the ones that I've been communicating with over the last 6 months, fairly accurate, and they work fairly well. And if I'm in touch with these people and they change something, they'll probably let me know about the changes. But if you go back past that, if you go back into time, and people who you maybe haven't been in contact with for a while, there's changes that happen. Phone numbers change, email addresses change, addresses change, home addresses change, and that information becomes what we call data decay. It's just useless, wrong information. And when you try to contact people who maybe you haven't contacted for a year, many times you get a bounce if you're doing an email. If you're mailing a card for an home address, you might get a return the sender because they've moved or something like that. So I'm finding that my address book is probably only, if at best, 50% correct, maybe only 30% correct.
And when you decided to do the app, how did the three of you work together?
The three of us worked together by meeting basically on the phone, not on the phone, meeting through a communication software. And we would have a weekly meeting. We'd start talking about the notion of what we had in mind. And what's really interesting is that the whole idea evolved tremendously over the course of about 12 months. It took us about 12 months to come up with a concrete approach to how to go about this. We did patent searches to see what was available in the marketplace. We did research with friends and family where we questioned what was important and what was not important to them, whether this even made any sense as an idea. And as we started learning more and more about how to approach the problem, we recognized that there were some really important key issues we had to address. In the last couple of years, the whole world of communication has changed to smartphones, and we've recognized that. We're all there. We're all using it. And it doesn't make any difference how old you are, whether you're 14 or 104, you're still using a smartphone in one form or another. And so we said, if we're going to make something like this work, it's got to drive through a smartphone.
The address books that are available to us, on our smartphones and through different platforms that support email and so on, do a great job of a lot of stuff. They, can identify duplicates. They can sync your address book with all of your devices. They're quite amazing. However, they don't do what we want to do. We want to keep accurate, perpetual contact information correct. That's how we're different. We're different because our emphasis is not necessarily in duplicating what the big guys have done with their address book platforms, but our app is an enhancement that helps to keep those address books current. The address book platforms that are out there today do a wonderful job of so many things in the broad range. It's just amazing what they've done, but they just haven't addressed the problem that we're talking about here. The problem we're talking about here has more to do with the information that's there, and is the data correct? And so what our app does is it makes sure that the data is correct in your address book.
And our research told us two things. One, people are very, very concerned about privacy. We realized that privacy was paramount to any app of this nature. The second thing we realized was that if an app isn't simple and easy to use, people won't accept it. They just won't use it because it's too complicated. And so we recognized that those had to be the cornerstones or the foundation of whatever we worked on and built going forward.
And the unique thing about UpBook is that it's designed to reside on your phone rather than a central database location, such as the cloud or some other location where that information is vulnerable to hackers. We understand that privacy is highly, highly important to everyone, as it is to us.
They go out in the wild and they look for information on your contacts in the social media or other places that they might find information that may not be consistent with the address book that you have. However, that only works a part of the time. It's not something that can consistently keep your address book accurate. And our solution keeps your address book consistently accurate.
People want an app that is relatively simple to use. When you download something, you really want to be able to have it step you through 2 or 3 or 4 steps and then be a functioning tool. That is, again, another one of our core principles, which is it's got to be simple and it's got to be intuitive. So that the notion of it is complex, but the application itself has to be very, very simple.
Applications that attempt to enhance address books, for the most part, present a litany of privacy issues. One of the main problems that we find is that they use centralized databases to keep their information correct. They go out in the wild and they look for information on your contacts in the social media or other places that they might find information that may not be consistent with the address book that you have. However, that only works a part of the time. It's not something that can consistently keep your address book accurate. And our solution keeps your address book consistently accurate.
When it comes to changing information in your address book, when two users both have the app and something changes, you will receive a text message indicating a change. If there's a change in another user's information, I will get a text message which then gives me the option of either accepting or rejecting that change.
When this app operates, it will have functionality to either let you manually opt into something or manually opt out of something. Most often to be manually opting in, which means that if you want to automatically update something, you can hit a button and it will automatically update for you. But you have complete control over how you want information updated in your phone book. We again recognize that there are too many applications that make assumptions about what you want. We're not going to make assumptions. We're going to let you make those decisions. And I'll give you one example. A number of years ago, I signed up for LinkedIn. Terrific product, terrific service. And so I said, okay, LinkedIn, you can send my information out. Well, what I didn't realize, what it was going to go in, and it was going to go through my entire address book and send emails out to everybody in my address book and say, well, George wants you to communicate with him, and therefore this is what's going to happen, X, Y, Z. And they didn't do it just once, they did it 2 or 3 times. And I got really annoyed by that because I never had control over what message they were going to send. So our feeling was that we want the user to have the control, not the application, not the big company.
If the UpBook app detects that there's a change in either your information or the information of someone who's in your contact list, it will give you an option. You will automatically receive an option to change your address book or for your contact to change their information. But you're in control of the information, you're in control, and you can opt out if you want, but I wouldn't.
If there's a change in another user's information, I will get a text message which then gives me the option of either accepting or rejecting that change.
First of all, your contacts will be up to date and accurate forever. Second of all, that information is private and we respect privacy. The third thing is it's free and you can't beat that.